The Nathan, Nat and Shaun podcast.
Every now and then somebody comes into the studio and you go, you know what, I have nothing in common with this person. His name is Adam Thorn. He's from Kings of Pain. You can see it on 7 Mate and 7 Plus, 8:30 on Tuesdays. Now, it's basically, the premise is you get animals to hurt you, Adam.
Yeah, essentially. Pretty much, yeah. So we build a pain index for animals that can inflict pain on human beings.
Yes.
And we subject ourselves to bites, stings, electrocutions, sometimes electric
That's fun.
eel.
Yeah.
Oh, that was fun.
So it's not just about like a horse kicking you in the head, for example. It's things that actually have an ability to do something to you like this. So poisons and bites and...
Yeah, so normally it's defensive venoms.
Yep.
Which
So
may...
a rabbit bite's not going to come.
No,
Is that
no.
what you're telling
Hey,
me?
I've been bitten by a rabbit and they bloody hurt.
Yeah, I would put that on very high on a pain scale.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I've just seen Adam's scars. So you showed us your arm. What's on your arm?
So I've got a scar on my arm from a 16-foot reticulated python that we got bitten by in Indonesia. And they're not venomous, but they have up to about 100 curved, sharp teeth.
And you know what the teeth look like because you still have one.
Yeah,
We're just checking out now. So the reticulation,
watch
it's
it.
just menacing your arm. When this happened to you, I know you've got a shield. You got a shield on
got your
for
face
safety.
mask on.
This is so
at it.
funny.
That's the money
It's
maker.
so mad. That snake is so mad at you.
How painful was that at the time?
Pretty painful. I've never. It's just started now, but the blood was insane. They had a banana leaf underneath me, and it was just filled up with blood. And then later we realised, we're not allowed to bleed on sacred ground because we're at a temple. I'm like, well,
Oh,
we
my
probably
God.
should have told us that before.
Adam, this is insane. Hey, can we just get back to how this all come about? What you do here in Perth to be able to lead this to someone going, he might be good for this gig?
Well, I've produced and made and hosted wildlife documentaries around the world before, and it kind of got interest in US production companies. So every week I was getting emails, production companies wanting to pitch. And then eventually one come out and said, we want to fly you to LA for a day to do some on-camera tests.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I flew over there. It's a pretty crazy story, actually, because it's a co-hosted show.
Yeah.
I hosted with an American dude, Caveman Rob. There he is
Caveman,
there.
yeah.
Paul's
Caveman,
there.
yep.
And basically to see who got along best on camera. I didn't even know what the show was about.
Yeah.
I thought it was just a wildlife show.
You didn't think to ask?
Well, I just assumed it was a typical wildlife
Yeah,
show.
sure.
I'm like, I get there. Well, what's the show about? You're getting bitten and stung by animals and rating on a pain index. I was
And
like,
you still went, yeah, all right.
well, I get bitten and stung by animals all the time anyway. I may as well get paid for it and be on TV.
But not on purpose. It's the fact that it's
Well,
on purpose, that
yeah.
you're seeking it out.
Well, that's the tough thing, because everything in your instincts tell you to avoid getting
Of
bitten
course.
and stung by, and
Yes.
avoid pain. You have to, and especially when you've been working with wildlife your entire
Yes.
life, that's one thing you're trained not to do, and you have to go
Yeah.
against all that and purposely do it. So it's really weird, and it's pretty tough to do.
Now, a lot of international visitors think that everything in Australia can kill them. Is most of it filmed here, or...?
We haven't done any episodes
Get
here.
out!
No.
Wow.
No.
So you're not talking venomous snakes, are you?
Not venomous snakes, no. But they're, because we work with snakes a lot.
Yes.
And if you are exposed to venom a lot, you don't necessarily become immune to it. You can go the opposite and become dangerously allergic to it.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So every insect bite or any venomous bite we did from an animal, we didn't know whether or not we were going to be allergic to it every single
So
bite.
you have a medical team with you
Yeah,
on
we have
standby
all
the time.
We have a doctor with us.
400 EpiPens poised, ready to go.
Yeah, pretty much.
And he gets stabbed by it. And he goes,
That's the thing that hurts.
Is there a correlation? Is the bigger the animal, the bigger the bite, or is it the smaller the animal?
Not necessarily. We've learned, firsthand that size really doesn't matter. I mean, tiny little ants like there's a wingless wasp called a velvet ant, also called the cow killer. It's this big. It's tiny. It looks like an
centimetre.
ant.
Yep.
Yeah, and Jesus, it'll
Bring you to your knees.
Oh, absolutely. Horrible.
Hey, Adam, you were talking about in life you normally pull yourself away from getting bitten or the danger.
well, it's a survival instinct, isn't it?
Was there many times where you, whilst you're filming, did pull your hand away, or was it because that the mental game that you're playing with yourself? Go, okay, I'll go again.
Yeah, so I'm not great with spiders. Not great with them. We had bloody 3 tarantulas that we had to get bitten by.
Does that hurt?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, their fangs are like, nails.
Yeah, right.
They're huge, and they're not like the South American tarantulas aren't super venomous. But we got bitten by an orange baboon tarantula, which are notorious
Did it have
for
a
being
swollen
really
red
painful.
butt? Is that why they go?
Almost, yeah, almost. Yeah,
Wow.
and they are notoriously bad biters. They really hurt. I obviously was intimidated by getting bitten by it, but I had to pick the thing up to get my co-host bitten. That's the thing.
Yes.
I don't want to touch it.
Oh, you didn't want to touch it?
No.
Oh, my God.
Tell me about things in the water because stingers.
Yeah.
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 I
So
remember
you're
doing
a
recovery
kanji,
in the
yeah?
beach and getting stung by stingers. That was the worst. Is that, where's that on the rating?
Marine stuff sucks. We did scorpion fish, which is, not far removed from a stonefish.
Stonefish, yeah.
Lionfish. We did eels, like moray eels, you name it. And the venom, it's got a very weird flavour to it almost. You know when you've been stung by a marine animal. It's just horrible.
Can I ask you about those things? So the lionfish and the stonefish and, things like cobbler, I guess. So you step on them, they got their horns and they go into you. And this happens to people down the beach. How do you treat that? Because people say, just wee on my
Wee on
foot
it?
and all
Yeah.
this kind of stuff.
Well, it's a laugh if you do, but it doesn't really do anything.
You get bitten and you've got wee on you.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly, yeah. With marine stings, submerge your, whatever limb was stung in hot water, as hot as
Yes.
you can tolerate. It neutralises the venom. But we weren't allowed to do any of that because we couldn't take anything, no painkillers.
Because you're documenting
Exactly.
the pain. Okay, so what hurts the most? Of everything you've done, what was the most painful?
Well, the python that you just saw topped the list on season 1 because it just inflicted that much damage. It caused a permanent disability.
Yes.
And
Not
we'll-
in you, but
That's
in
your
your
caveman.
co-host.
In my
Yes.
co-host, and Caveman Rob.
So
Yeah.
a nerve got severed in his,
Yeah.
so the ulnar nerve that goes down to your little finger and your ring finger.
Yeah.
So okay.
And,
so he can't stick his finger out when he's drinking his cup of tea anymore.
No, exactly. Yeah, and he's got not much feeling in it. But we always said that was a mistake because we caught a 10-foot one, and we were like, we've been bitten by 10-footers before, let's go bigger.
So these are wild pythons that you had to go and catch in the jungle.
Yeah, season 1 we caught them. Season 2 we were filming through COVID, so we had to film all out of LA.
And the python had to wear a mask.
Yeah, exactly. But there was no social distancing, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But then we were like, we don't want to come anywhere close to the python bite in rating terms, and season 2 we bloody beat it with something worse. We got bitten by a beaded lizard.
Where are they from?
They're from Mexico.
Of course.
They're related to the Gila monster. They're a heliodome lizard, and they are super venomous. I nearly passed out. I was vomiting. My arm was like ruined for like 2 weeks. They've killed people.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
That's
Adam.
crazy. They
Yeah.
kind of look a little bit like a colourful bobtail.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
are
they
they
do.
about that size?
They get quite a lot bigger. We got a little one because, well, we
Yeah.
didn't
You
want
wanted
to
to
go
survive.
overboard. Yeah, exactly.
So that's the most painful thing you've encountered on this show.
Absolutely.
my
But there has
God.
been real close contenders. We got too many close contenders to that, actually.
What's your rating scale? 1 to 5, 1 to 10, where are we at?
So we do it out of 30. So we do an out of 10 for intensity, so how acute that pain is. Then a rating out of 10 for duration, how long it lasts.
Yeah.
And then damage, how much damage it left you with at the end out of 10. So ultimately,
It's like a good lover,
it's out of
Caitlin.
30.
Well, that stung.
You're not normal. We've established that, Adam.
Not at
But
all.
neither are we, so
No.
welcome.
Yeah,
But,
I'm in good company.
But Adam, you were just saying that, like, you just grew up in the suburbs here, and you were just interested in animals. So the first job you had out of school, or heading towards dealing with animals, how did that occur?
Well, I mean, during school, I used to wag and be at the bush.
Trying to catch goannas and stuff.
Yeah, snakes, you name it. I got bitten by a tiger snake when I was like 14.
That didn't put
trying
you
to
off?
carry it home. No.
Did you?
Yeah, I was trying to carry it home and it bit me, and then I put it down. Went, I should probably get to a hospital, but I really want to take this snake home, so I picked it up again. I was walking home and I was like, I should probably get to a hospital.
What happened to you when you got bitten by after a while?
Tiger snake.
By a
One
tiger
of the
snake.
most poisonous snakes in the world.
Yeah. So they're probably like number 4 on the world's most venomous dangerous list, but luckily 50% are dry bites. So I went to the hospital. I'm like, oh, and they're like, no, I don't think it injected you with venom. So I was lucky.
Did they believe you?
Well, yeah.
Did you have the snake with you? Were you like, here, this
no, they don't like that. But no, I had the puncture marks and everything.
Yeah.
So it bit me. It just didn't inject any venom, luckily.
I went to school with a girl who was bitten. Yeah, I grew up in the country, and she didn't know she'd been bitten. So she was on a farm, threw some grass, and then she started feeling a bit unwell, and they found the marks on her. She was very ill for some time. She survived, but she was very, very ill.
Yeah, if you get anti-venom,
quick enough,
your chances of survival is like pretty much really high.
I'm very curious. Where is the most painful part of the body to get bitten? Because
you thinking like tattoos?
Yeah, like like when you get an injection, it's in your backside. There's a bit of meat there. Like, do you want a bite in a meaty place, or do you want it more on like an extremity where potentially nothing else is getting?
And you can lose it.
Yeah.
Straight off.
It depends on the animal, because if you are like putting really long spines in your body, you don't want it in a meaty part because that's muscle, and you don't want to damage muscle and disable yourself. But there are parts of your body that are super sensitive, like fingertips.
Lots of nerves in your fingertips, obviously. Yeah.
Apparently getting stung on the lip is really bad, but
good to know.
Yeah, I haven't done that, but we've done hands and fingers. We got bitten by a centipede on the leg. We had to shave each other's legs for that. That was the worst part of it.
Not shaving each other's legs. Yeah.
Oh, not getting bitten, but shaving one another's legs is the bad bit. Yeah. Is there anything, like, is there sort of the goal, the holy grail of things to be bitten by that you're waiting to do?
We really wanted to do, we wanted to do the electric eel, which we did on season 2. That was really fun. But we really wanted to do the blue bottle Portuguese man o' war. But they weren't in season when we were doing it, so we couldn't get any, because I think just on camera they look so cool.
Yeah. Take us back to the electric eel. Okay, were you swimming with it? You were in a pool with it, or did you just take it out, had it in the how did you do it?
We had it in a
Were you wearing thongs?
We were wearing rubber-soled boots, actually, but so they're most dangerous when they're out of the water and dry, because you get because the water kind of disperses the electricity. So it was in a tank, and it was a big eel. And we had like electrodes connected to us so they could monitor our hearts.
Yes.
And a little sound thing, so every time the electric eel send off an electric shock, the speaker would go tuk, 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 tuk.
Oh,
so it was super scary.
No.
But we got hit by it. It was amazing. I would do that again.
So is it like touching an electric fence? Would that be?
It's worse
than that.
It's like
what's the voltage?
Yeah, like they can kill people.
Yeah.
I get that.
So it's more the amps that will kill you.
Yeah.
But it just certain circumstances changes the amperage and the voltage.
That's amazing. That's an animal that's getting off that electricity through.
Yeah, it's freakish, isn't it?
Being able to,
Yeah, the way their organs work, they've got 3 organs in their body that produce electricity. They're like little batteries lined up, and each one releases small charges, but when they're all lined up, they get a massive charge out of them. And that's what blew me away the most, like, not intended.
Literally and figuratively, yes.
Was just feeling the power and going, that came from an animal.
Yeah,
like, what the hell?
That is wild.
It's amazing if you hooked up your house to a couple of eels and you set a tank off to the side. It's so fortunate.
It's the new arm of Pleco. That's what they're going to do next.
That's the new Pleco system.
I've heard that platypus spines are really painful. I mean, they're hard to encounter. Not many people do.
Yeah, so that was one that we sort of tossed around the idea of, and then we don't know, because the males have venomous spurs in their back legs, and the pain can last for years.
Yes, they do
apparently.
say yes. Did you not know that?
No, when I'm looking at the photos now, I'm like, where is a spine on them?
Yes, it's on their back legs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, and they're massive, so the mechanical damage would be huge, because that would go deep and tear you open. But the venom.
So you're scared of the platypus? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not scared. I just don't feel like it.
Adam, this is incredible stuff.
I know.
What you put yourself through.
Do you sometimes just look at your life and go, what am I doing?
Yeah. We were on Celebrity Gogglebox in the US, and Ozzy Osbourne was like, crazier than I am, which was awesome. I was like,
that's right?
That's something.
That's saying something,
Yeah.
isn't it? I mean, that puts it all in perspective.
Yeah.
All right, check it out, everybody. Adam Thorn on Kings of Pain.
Oh, my God.
If you do just want to see somebody suffering by their own hand, basically, it's all his own fault.
Yep.
9:30 at 7 mate and 7 plus, of course. 9:30 tonight. So check it out. Thank you so much for coming in, you
Thanks,
giant
Adam.
No
freak.
worries.
That's
Thanks
just
for
the
having me.
weirdest person I've ever met. But we love it.
It's the Nathan, Nat and Shaun podcast.
Caitlin Bassett in the house.
Morning.
Hey, Caitlin, as you know, it's a big day today because the kids are back at school. Term 3 begins, Natalie.
Yes, school
Why
zones.
did they go back yesterday? Like, why did
Teacher
people not go
development
back
day
on Monday?
often.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
We should have that when we're on holidays. We're going to bring
Yeah.
that up next time.
Well, often it happens to me because my flight's been cancelled somewhere.
Yeah, good on you, mate. Stay with it. Stay with it.
So
Don't change.
That was a big thank you to the floods in Dubai last time.
Yeah. Go with it. So one of the things I was talking about with one of the parents at the footy on the weekend, the girls' footy, is that when there is the school holidays, the opportunity to have a sleepover at someone's house keeps coming up. It's almost a daily occurrence.
Yes.
And at my house, my daughter either sleeps at my my niece's house, my brother's house, because my daughter and my niece are like, they're inseparable on
Yeah.
the weekends in particular.
So cousins that are besties. That's cute.
So
I like that.
we come back from Bali. No, I've got to. I said to Sunny we might stay a couple more days in Bali just to see what her reaction. She's like, no way, I've got to sleep over at Lisa's house. So I'm going.
Her cousin's name's Lisa?
Elise, sorry.
Lisa, right.
Yeah, so she was... so they had many sleepovers. One of the things that me and Megan always talk about, you can guarantee after a sleepover, they've had no sleep at all. So they're absolutely ratty and they cry and they get upset and they don't talk to you and it's impossible to have a conversation with.
When I was a kid, when I had a birthday party, because we lived on a farm out of town, so we're 40 k's out of town. So I'd get maybe 12 friends to come to my party, but then Dad would drive home all the town kids because that was just one trip. So all the town kids would get driven home. So that was, for him, that was an hour to go in, drop them all off and come back again. And then all the farm kids would stay. So I might have, like in the lounge room, there'd just be the mattresses laid out on the floor. Maybe six kids.
Yeah.
And the number of times, the lasting image of my dad for the rest of my life will just be him screaming, "Shut up, you lot!" Because it was like that was, and we had to go to school the next day. It was like just,
I can hear my dad yelling that too.
Constant giggling. "Shut up, you lot! Go to sleep!"
Yeah, Caitlin, was it a thing with you?
There was one rule in our house. If you wanted to have a sleepover, because we had best mates, and my sister, she's older than me, my brother's younger, and they had kids in the same range. So it was like everyone wanted to sleep over at once, which was fine. But it wasn't allowed to be on a school night. That was the rules. And you had to give at least a day's notice. And I can guarantee you there would be begging, "Please, can she sleep over tonight?" No, you didn't give me a day's notice.
And you didn't fill out the form in triplicate.
Pretty
so.
much. Like, there was a very set rule. You knew you weren't going to get a yes.
You never got to bypass that rule? It was upheld?
Yes.
Oh.
And it was generally only one night as well. You couldn't do multiple nights. So it wasn't like, hey, I sleep at your house tonight and then you sleep at mine tonight. It was only ever a single night.
When I was a kid, if we did just do a sleepover unrelated to a birthday party, they had to come for the whole weekend because they would catch the bus home with me and then stay Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night and then go back to school on the Monday and vice versa if I was staying with friends in town because there was just no other way around it. Yeah.
The dad I was speaking to on the weekend, he said, "That's it. We've had enough of the sleepovers. we're
drawing the line.
We're drawing the line because he said he was speaking to his daughter, and she goes, 'You don't understand, you know.'" And
I mean, that's a common call at 14 anyway.
But she's got, she's emotional after not
overtired.
sleeping.
And she's just been eating sugar for the last...
absolutely. All right, let's talk about sleepovers.
Yeah, have you got rules at your house? Have you just banned them outright?
I mean, a day in advance.
Do you have a story from when you had a sleepover as a kid?
Yeah, did you ever try to nick off at night and...
Sneak over to the park?
I was the same as you. We lived on 5 acre properties, so we weren't going nowhere. We had the granny flat. We would go over to the granny flat and make as much noise as we wanted to. Mum and Dad wouldn't care.
Oh, that's a good outcome.
Good, yeah.
All right. Stacey's in Kalgoorlie. Hi, Stace.
Going.
Good,
Stace.
What happened on a sleepover?
So my daughter, who's 15, had about 6 of her girlfriends to sleep over for her birthday, and I thought I'd be that cool mum and play murder in the dark with her. And one of the girls jumped off the bench onto my toe and broke it. So my rule is no more murder in the dark.
Okay. Oh, no more murder in the dark.
Yeah, I love that. That was your fault as the mother.
Yes, of course. Very bad idea.
That game was a staple at my grandma's growing up.
Yeah. I mean,
That is spotlight.
yeah, murder in the dark in Kalgoorlie probably sometimes gets a bit literal, does it? Can't be too careful. Thanks, Stace. Melinda's in Parmelia. Hello.
Hi, how you going?
Good, Melinda.
Good, Melinda. What happened at the sleepover?
So I had a birthday party growing up on a farm over east, and everyone decided that they'd bring tents, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, this is a bit weird, but anyway. So they wanted to have that whole, sleep under the stars experience because they're all townies.
Yeah.
So anyway, we all pitched our tents and everything out the back. Well, we had 100 mils of rain that night, and I know it just came out of nowhere because that's Victoria.
Yes.
And anyway, all the tents floated away because they got uprooted from all the rain and mud and everything. And some of them ended up in our dam.
Oh.
I know. So everyone bailed inside, and my parents actually didn't wake up, so we all got inside, and we didn't realise how much mud we'd carried in with us. And anyway, so we got up in the morning, and literally every wall, every bit of carpet, every bit of furniture was just covered in mud. And my parents got up and just,
went wild?
they weren't too impressed. So Mum got all the cleaning products out. She got all the rubber gloves and the buckets and the mops and everything, and made everyone clean up the house.
You had a cleaning party for your birthday in the end. Wow.
The last sleepover
I was going to say, nobody would have wanted to go to your house after that. That's full on.
Oh, I love the sleep out and then everything goes haywire.
I know. That's a lot of rain too. That is a lot of rain. Thanks, Melinda. Stephanie's in West Swan. Hi, Steph.
Good morning, crew.
Hey,
Steph, what's your take on sleepovers?
As I was saying before, I come from a Greek background, so sleepovers were sort of quite a big no-no. To this day, I'm not 100% sure why, but my mum would always say, well,
it's
I
our
don't really
culture.
know. Yeah, she never really sort of explains, but she always used to say, well, you don't know what the beds are like, is there, going to have enough blankets, are you going to be warm enough or whatever.
A lot of concern.
And, what are you going to eat? Of course, the main sort of issue was like whether we'd be fed.
Yes.
We were allowed to have friends over, which, they'd be stunned as to how much food there was.
Yes.
But, it was just never, and even when I say my kids are going for a sleepover, my mum will be like, oh, they shouldn't be going. You should just have them at home. But, they just never really,
And they didn't explain it, but it was a cultural thing. Yeah.
I'd say so. I'm not sure whether, any of the other parents were like that. I don't remember my friends
was it
talking about
cultural or were they just blaming it on when they just didn't want you to go? Yeah. It's amazing, isn't it?
Maybe a little bit cultural, but, just the, concern that, well, no one's going to look after you better than we do.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
I know. I have heard that there are some cultures, and I believe, I might get this wrong, but I believe it's some of the Scandinavian countries where if you were to go and stay at someone's house, they're not obliged to feed you.
What?
So they don't, I've heard stories of kids that were like, oh, we're having dinner now, just wait in the room.
No.
If someone's out there and they can confirm that with us, give us a call.
Yeah, that's right.
13 24 10.
If when you went to visit your German or Scandinavian friend's house,
yeah, Scandinavian, it says here on the Google.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. They don't feed you.
I mean, I get it. If you've got lots of kids coming around, you can't afford to feed everyone. It is expensive food these days. You don't want to have a party and 10 kids eat out of house and home. But to think that they're going to sit in the corner.
Imagine like if they'd come to out on the farm. They don't have an option. There's nowhere else to go. So you're like, what do you pack 3 days food for them to go and stay at their friend's house?
Yeah, camp for some kids. I'd send them over. Need to lose some weight, go have a sleepover.
That's right. with the Johanssons. Just talking about sleepovers before we hit the news, and we caught up with Stephanie, who told us that as growing up in a Greek family, she wasn't allowed to go on sleepovers, but if kids came to her, they were very well fed. And I then threw out the theory that I'd read somewhere that in some countries they don't feed you if you're on a sleepover, and I believed it was the Scandinavian kids. And Seabass is horrified, obviously. Well, Katarina's given us a call. Hello, Katarina.
Oh, hi.
Have you got any insight into this, or am I just making it up?
No, it's true. So I'm from Sweden originally. I've obviously lived in Australia for a while, and every time I went to my friends for play dates or on the weekends or after school, every time they had lunch or dinner, I got to sit in the room and wait for them to finish eating, or I went home to my own house and had my own food.
So if you just waited in the room, would your mum pack snacks for you in your bag? No. So you just sit there?
Never. Yeah, just sit there, and sometimes, you can smell the food and you go, I'm so hungry.
Katarina, what was the thinking behind that? That it was an impost?
I don't know. I had this discussion with another Swedish friend the other day because I had completely forgot about that until somebody brought it up. And I don't know, it's not like we were poor and we didn't have food. It was just like maybe you were so organised that you just planned enough food for your your own family, and if there was sort of outsiders there just wasn't simply enough. I don't know. It's so bizarre.
Is it also, is part of it like you didn't want to, tread on the parents of the visiting child's toes by feeding them something that was inappropriate, perhaps? Maybe? Is it that?
No,
Okay.
really.
I was just trying to find a reason.
No, I think people are just so organised, and you know what Swedish people are like, they're super organised. Maybe they've just bought enough food for their own family.
Surely just buy a slightly bigger bag of meatballs, mate.
Surely there's meatballs in the freezer ready to go. Pop them in the air fryer, some Swedish fish.
I remember my neighbour coming over. We used to go to school together, and I would sit at the table and have breakfast, and she would sit next to me.
And watching you eat. It's so awkward.
Katarina, I think Harry has got this information on
Harry,
Google.
What have you Googled, Has?
It's pretty much spot on what Katarina said just before. They don't buy an excessive amount of food. They don't plan to have an excessive amount of food in their culture. So they've just got enough for the family.
So not even a slice of bread for the visiting poor little starving kid in the bedroom?
I know. Or like the little kid is sitting at the table, like drooling over your
you wouldn't make all the portions slightly smaller so they could eat something as well. Like sharing is caring.
We haven't thought of that. We haven't thought of that. In 1,000 years of sleepovers.
Amazing culture.
That might be a good
incredible.
idea.
Thank you so much for your insights, Katarina. I can see why you got out.
Note to self, never go to a Swedish sleepover.
I know.
Nathan, Nat and Sean is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcasts.com.au. Nova.